Holy smokes, the Sydney housing market is going absolutely crazy. Auction clearance rates are hitting record highs of 88, 89%. I'm sure a lot of you don't agree with the auction clearance rates with the way how they record them, but if we can look at the trend, because the trend is your friend until the end, we can see that the trend is rising, and the same metrics that they use last year where it was around 50, 60, 70%, they're now going over 80, 85 and closer to 90%, and the Sydney medium auction house price reached $1.68 million. Just when you thought the Australian housing market couldn't get any crazier, it just has. So we're going to dive deep into this article to see what's going on in the Sydney housing market and figure out if in 2021 a medium house price in Sydney will reach 1.5 million. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. And if this video brings you value, please tap that like and subscribe button. I'll keep you all up to date on the latest that's happening here in the Australian housing market, and comment your thoughts below. What do you think is going to happen to the Sydney and Australian housing market in 2021? Okay, so Sydney's medium auction house price reaches a high of 1.68 million during record month of clearance rates. Now I know we must take this as a grain of salt coming from Domain, because obviously they've got a conflict of interest. They did get caught last year putting out some fake news articles, but I have seen this also coming from other sources as well. So it says the median price for a house at auction in Sydney has reached a record high of 1.68 million as clearance rates look set to break levels not seen since 2015, a new figure reveals. And we all know in 2015 that was really the start of a 2-year bull run up until 2017 where we saw house prices peak. So it's going to be interesting to see if we see the same kind of growth over the next 2 years as we did from 2015 to 2017. It's been a stunning month of auction activity across Sydney amid fierce buyer competition that has seen up to 42 people registered to bid on a single property, homes selling for more than 1 million above the reserve, and the preliminary auction clearance rate skyrocketing to its highest level in 24 years. So our 1 million above reserve preliminary clearance rate skyrocketing to highest in 24 years. For all of you that are watching Sydney, can you confirm that these crazy auctions are going on? Let me know down below. The auction frenzy comes off the back of record-breaking house price rises by the end of 2020 when Sydney medium house price reached 1.21 million. Geez, so $1.21 million for the average house in Sydney. Even if you're on a good wage of $100K per year, that's still 12 times your annual earnings. But I did a video recently on New Zealand housing market, and most importantly Auckland, where house prices are almost 20 times the average annual earnings. So if you think it can't get any worse, it actually can. With just one more weekend left in February, the clearance rate for the month to date has reached 84.4%, the highest level since May 2015 according to Domain data. And again, a lot of people, they're not confident in this data for how they test it, but if they're still using the same metrics, and say for example last year was 70%, using the same metrics this year and it's over 85%, we can still see that the trend is that auction results are trending higher. The property market is booming and it is heating up in Sydney at the moment. But are we going to see these trends continue, or are we going to see high interest rates come in the future and cool this housing market? Or could we possibly see interventions by APRA step in like they did in 2017 to cool the housing market? What do you think? And it shows no signs of abating this weekend, with 710 properties scheduled to go under the hammer. Domain senior research analyst Nicola Powell tipped this weekend would break records again. And it's Sunday as I'm recording this, so let's get in to see what the auction clearance rates results were for Sydney this week. Okay, so as we can see here in Melbourne, it was 79%, so that's pretty strong. But as we can see, there was a lot more scheduled auctions in Melbourne compared to Sydney. So it's going to be interesting to see if we're going to see more rising stock in Melbourne, and if that's going to put a downward pressure on house prices. So let's now go to Sydney to see what the results were for this weekend. Well, so as we can see here, Sydney had an auction clearance rate of 88% as of on the 27th of February 2021. So definitely a good result. It's above the average. So let's see if this trend continues into March. We've had a robust month for the auction market. We're seeing strong results, Dr. Powell said. So far, the median auction price is looking to set a record and the clearance rate is looking to be a record. The sheer volume of buyers out in the market currently outstripping the supply of Sydney homes for sale was driving strong competition, he said. Now, of course, Sydney is not just one market. There are many markets in Sydney, so you may say, all house prices are booming. I've got to get into my suburb right now before house prices boom. But not all properties will perform equally, not all suburbs will perform equally. So there may be a boom in one part of Sydney, where there may be another part where you're in, which may be having a downturn still, and units are still seeing weak demand. A lot of the FOMO and a lot of the above reserve prices are going to be for unique properties, something that has a scarcity factor, not just a specky townhouse or apartment or a unit, and also properties close to schools, public transport, employment, stuff like that. That's where we normally see properties outperform. And right now, properties on bigger blocks, bigger houses are moving first. Not to mention, we still have the Fiscal Cliff that's coming in March, where people on JobKeeper, JobSeeker, that's going to be scrapped. We're going to see a small increase to JobSeeker, but it's really not going to be enough to survive on. The mortgage holidays are coming to an end, so we have seen some banks like CommBank saying they may have to sell, but they're saying, look, at least they're selling into a rising market, I guess to try to soften the blow. And we're also seeing businesses that were trading while insolvent, that's coming to an end. So this is also going to be another test for the housing market to see how it's going to go when all that stimulus is taken away, because that's something that definitely helped it from a significant correction in 2020. And even though those people that are on JobKeeper, JobSeeker, they're not likely to be going out there and buying properties worth $750 million, but they are renters, and this is going to affect landlords. Before, they could just call up the bank and get a mortgage holiday, no questions asked. But now it's going to be a lot more harder to qualify. And what this causes is a ripple effect. The first thing we see in the property market cycle is the upper end of the market moves first, like what is moving now, but then it gets too overheated, too overvalued, and then people start to go to the next suburb and look for more value. Or big blocks, if they get too overvalued, then people go for smaller blocks or smaller houses. And then once houses get too unaffordable, then they go to townhouses, units, etc. So guys, what do you think is going to happen to the Sydney market in 2021? Do you think prices are going to keep booming, and at this rate, if they keep going up like this, we could see 10 to 12% price increase in 2021? Or do you think once this stimulus is taken away, it's going to affect confidence? We are going to see a slowdown in the property price growth in Sydney. For all my loyal viewers and subscribers still watching, you're awesome. I've been having an absolute blast pumping out content again after my break. I'm loving the discussions we're having in the comment section. Some of you guys have great insights and are very intelligent, and I'm proud of this community we're building, and I'll keep pumping out content to keep you informed on the latest that's happening in Australia. And of course, if you haven't already, please tap that like and subscribe button for the whole YouTube algorithm. It really helps out the channel a lot. And of course, I'll see you all in the next video.